Why is it always raining when I want to take one of the cars out? This is ridiculous.
So I just got word that there's a Supra meet, new Supras, old Supras. The only problem is I don't have a Supra. I have something else, but it's not anywhere close to being a Toyota. I have the Nissan GT-R. So I'm gonna take this down to the Supra meet. Hopefully they let me park with everyone else, and hopefully we see some cool cars. Let's go. I'm sorry, Tiburon. I'm sorry. I know it's like the 5th time this month that I'm leaving you for this. Should be a very interesting little meet. The fact that the dealership is doing it is pretty cool. The owner is a huge car enthusiast, has a ton of Toyotas, has a very rare, well, not really rare, but the fact that it only has 300 miles on its Supra, or 500 miles, I'm not sure, never been titled car. It's pretty sick. So I'll show you guys that car when we get there, but we're almost there.
Wow, these are really clean. I used to have one of these. Not right-hand drive though. So 2 more hardtops here. I'm really wondering if this is the real color. If it is, very rare, very expensive color. I want to see inside. It looks clean though inside. Not that you can see anything that I'm filming right now, but yeah, that's 300 mile, 300 or 500 miles, not sure. Don't touch, don't tempt me. How many red ones already? That's kind of crazy that they have this many red ones. I found there was plenty of headroom for me. Almost ran into that top secret Supra. Holy crap, it's raining hard. Well, that meet was pretty cool. There was a lot of really nice cars that showed up. There was about 4 launch editions inside, all with a $110,000 price tag. Now let me talk about the price tag issue for a second. I know a lot of people are complaining, saying that these cars are way too expensive. The dealerships are asking crazy markups, not only for the launch editions, but the normal base model, or not even base model, mid-model cars. Well, the last time that Toyota was able to do a very high markup like that was probably back when the Prius was brand new, and those markups were 10 to 20 and sometimes even $30,000. Now, did people pay that? Yeah, the first couple of people who really wanted the cars paid it. They had the money to do it, they wanted to do it, that was their thing. No one's forcing you to buy that car, and if those cars are still on the market, say, you know, 3 or 4 months from now, trust me, they're gonna lower those prices down. They're not gonna just let them sit on their lot. They're gonna wanna sell them. Now, with the exception of the launch editions, which I think some people think are going to be valuable in the future, I really don't see them being $100,000 cars, and maybe in, you know, 20, 30 years from now, if someone wants to wait that long to see if their car is going to be worth $100,000, I think getting the car at MSRP is still a really good price. You know, if you're into the car, I think the price should be a lot lower, in my opinion. I really like the car. The car by itself, I actually really like. I think it's a comfortable car. I think there is a lot of BMW. The joke is BMW, and I can make a ton of BMW jokes about it, which I'm not going to do, but it's a very comfortable car. I've sat in quite a few of them now. I've got to see them drive next to me, and I got to see how zippy they are. I haven't been able to drive one yet, but I hopefully will be able to drive one pretty soon. Just this past week, I got to meet up with some friends, and we went for a quick little drive, and I got to see pretty much how this car looked on the road, the way that, you know, someone normally would see it, not just at a dealership. I wanted to actually see the car driving around to see if I liked it, you know, from a different perspective. Could I see myself driving that car? If I came across it on the road, would I be drawn to it like, oh, that's a pretty car? Now, I was listening to some people at this show today, and they were complaining that it doesn't look anything like the previous Supra. Well, the previous, you know, Mark III didn't look anything like the Mark IV, and, you know, just like the new Corvette doesn't look like the old Corvette. And if you look at the lines of Corvettes from when they first came out until now, they all look pretty much different. The same thing with Mustangs, with the exception of Porsche. I think Porsche, of course, all their cars look the same, but with the exception of them, it's remakes of cars really never look like they used to. But yeah, the car doesn't look like the previous Supra, and I don't think it should. I think the car needs to have really good performance. I think it needs to compete with other cars in its class. I don't think it competes anywhere near the GTR right now, but now the GTR, especially this one, was $120,000 MSRP. Now, granted, it has the premium interior and everything, and it is a really nice car. The facelift is a nicer car. Do I think it's a $120,000 car? No. But I think at 90 to 100, I think this is still a really good valued car, especially for the performance. I think if this car had 700 horsepower, I could see justifying those numbers a little bit easier, or, you know, if it was limited production, if they didn't make so many of them. I think eventually they might do what Nissan did, and they're gonna say, oh, people bought these things for 100 grand. We could easily put one out for 100 grand. And then you're gonna see the markup, you know, another 20, 30 grand on top of that for some TRD M package. Okay, I won't do any more BMW jokes. But anyway, you know what I mean. They're gonna come out with their own TRD version of it, and they're gonna make a facelift version of it later down the road, and those prices are gonna increase over time. I think in 3 months, and I've already talked to a lot of dealers about this, in 3 to 6 months, you're gonna see these back at MSRP. They're gonna start selling the launch editions that they didn't get rid of. Some dealers might hold them on for a year, but then after the cars start flooding the market, prices will be normal. And then you're gonna start seeing deals on cars. So people who are willing to wait a year to get that car, and you're perfectly fine with waiting a year, I suggest that you do that. Now, I was talking to another dealership who told me a guy traded in a ZR1 for the new Supra. Now, his ZR1 was about $140,000, and he did a just straight up trade for it. Well, that dealership made out, of course. But then I've talked to some other dealers who they sold some of their other base model cars for 7 over. And I just found out from 2 of my friends that they bought cars, launch editions. They both bought launch editions for MSRP. So yeah, some dealers aren't looking to make a killing on their cars. Some of them just want to sell. I do like the looks of the car. I'm not completely opposed. Some things are growing on me and some things I still don't get. Obviously, the fake vents, I don't get the point of that. I know why they did it. They're trying to look like the FT1, but they could have easily made the car the FT1 and just charged 150 grand and people would have paid it. Most of the Supra owners that I was watching talk about the car, almost all of them were really disappointed in it. A lot of guys were like, I can handle it, but the biggest conversation was the name. They said, this is a great Toyota type car. Yes, they teamed up with BMW for it, but if it had a different name, if it had the Celica name, if it was the new FRS, BRZ, whatever version of the car, obviously Toyota teamed up with Subaru for that car, and it turned out, you know, pretty good, I guess. It's a nice little sports car. Maybe some of you guys remember when the Toyota Matrix came out and they teamed up with Pontiac and they made the Pontiac Vibe, I believe they called it. That kind of partnership has been going on forever. It's not a problem. I can understand it. There's reasons for it. And I think it helps all these different companies grow. I think if it just didn't have the Supra name, I think I would like it a lot more. I think they should have made it a lot more like the concept model. And I know that's a lot to ask because those lines are pretty aggressive and it would make it a very expensive car. Honestly, if I think it looked anything like the FT1, I would 100% buy that car. I would be perfectly okay if I had 120, 150 grand. I could see it being worth that much as long as the power and the looks made up for it. If it could compete with the GTR, 100%. This car can't compete with the GTR. Oh, it can be tuned. Yeah, of course, any car can be tuned, but that's not the point. You want the manufacturer to be able to compete directly, stock for stock. That's what you want. So we'll see. I still like the look of it. It's growing on me. I can't wait to see everyone start modding them and coming up with some amazing modifications. But until then, that's pretty much it. I just washed it too. This sucks.
Well, that's it. The GTR is safe, back in its garage before this big storm comes, which is literally right on top of me. We're gonna head home. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you guys think about the new Supra below. Really wanna know your guys' thoughts. See ya.